Good morning or good evening. This is the course on the Sustainable Development Planning, Module 2. So the Module 2 is about the development plan as a tool for transformational change, purpose and delivery-oriented planning, which is a tool. A new tool that has been introduced by myself, and this module is fully devoted to it. We will examine it through the following plan in 5 sections. The first one is about the conceptual and methodological framework of the purpose and delivery-oriented planning, PDOP. The second section is how we use PDOP for working out the development planning. The third one is about we handle implementation of National Development Plan using the PDOP framework. And the fourth one is what is monitoring in the PDOP framework. And finally, in the 5th section, we will see how PDOP can facilitate the financing of the National Development Plan. It's about the conceptual and the methodological framework of the planning, the purpose and delivery-oriented planning. The first section is about how we've drawn the PDOP rationale from the Genesis in the Bible. The second section is about the definition and the purpose of the PDOP. And the third section is about its basic concepts. First section, from Genesis to PDOP, the founding act of transformation. So in the Bible, Eve, the woman of Adam's spouse, saw that the tree was good to eat and pleasing to the eye, and that it was precious to open the mind. So she took of its fruits and ate. She also gave some to her husband, who was with her, and he ate some. So the action here is that Adam and Eve ate, they consumed the apple with the following consequences. First, they realized that they were naked. So that's awareness and over each other. That's the change in their attitude. They also hide from God. That actually is a change in their behavior. And second, in result-based management, change in practice and behavior meets the definition of outcome. The other consequence of their action, actually the second consequence of their action, is that first, they were driven out of the Garden of Eden. Second, they were forced from them to work hard to earn their living. And third, Eve from them will have to give birth in pain. These are the impacts, the negative impacts of the fact that they have consumed the apple. We can see that the act that triggers transformation in their attitude and living condition is the consumption of the apple of the forbidden tree. So the transformation in the frame of the PDOP It's just like in Genesis. And from there, we've drawn the conclusion that the product and its consumption are at the heart of transformational dynamics. So what's the definition and purpose of the PDOP? In terms of planning, the PDOP is presented as a tool and a programming approach with the aim to determine the relevant products for the achievement of the goals linked to the three levels of results, which are outcomes, impacts, and vision, identified as transformational change. So the PDOP can be represented schematically as a process represented by an oval loop that we've called virtuous transformations loop, whereby the highest parts represent the vision, the lowest part, the consumption, the use of the products. The left side of the loop represents the three levels of results, outcome, impact, and vision, and their respective purposes. The right side of the loop, the transformation, represent the transformation of the goals into deliverable. So schematically, what I've just described can be seen on this figure. Follow the basic concepts of PDOP. PDOP tries to give a more operational definition and a marketing approach of the already known concept of output, which in the frame of PDOP is considered instead as a product and meaning any good or service that can be used, consumed, and meets the expectation of the end user. So that's the marketing aspect of the product. So product needs to meet the end user expectations. The actual consumption of the product by the user generates the outcome as defined in the glossary of result-based management. Third, the definition of the outcome is borrowed from Prince2, according to which the outcome is a change following the use of a product of the project. In the frame of the PDOP, the purpose is defined as being the ultimate object of a group of actions located at the level of each of the results, which are the vision, the impact, and the outcome. Within the framework of the PDOP, defining the purpose makes it possible to test, verify the relevance of each of the actions supposed to lead to it. As we know, the end justifies the mean. When actions are formulated in isolation, question them in relation to their purpose allows them to be linked to the group of action vis-à-vis which they are relevant. So, what does deliverable means in the frame of PDOP? It's what the person, the institution responsible for the purpose must deliver by a given deadline, known as a milestone. The deliverable is also a way to quantify, to make measurable the purpose, and to give an objective basis to the accountability linked to its achievement. And the deliverable is characterized by 5 main attributes: a wording, which is usually the deliverables name, the deadline, the client, we call it criteria, which determine the admissibility or rejection of the deliverable by the client, and the performer. In addition, instead of conceptual capacity building or training, which are difficult to measure, the PDOP gives preference to basic know-how, additional know-how, or improvement know-how in order to make them compatible with the concepts of utilization and consumption characterizing any product and with the concept of deliverable. Chapter 2. How do we use PDOP for development planning? It will be developed in 5 points, 5 sections. First, PDOP as a planning tool and process. Second, the general approach of the PDOP in terms of planning. Third, the key stage in the development of the National Development Plan using the PDOP approach. Fourth, the quality criteria of the National Development Plan within the framework of the PDOP. And fifth, the advantage of a plan built based on the PDOP methodology. PDOP as a planning tool. The PDOP is a tool allowing to present the purposes linked to the results chain, and second, to the deliverable of the process of obtaining successive results, outcome, impact, and vision through the use of product resulting from a causal analysis. As a process, the PDOP consists of determining the result chain as well as the related purposes within the framework of the realization of a vision, and identifying the products allowing to obtain the deliverable necessary for the realization of the said vision. So the PDOP approach borrows from the human rights-based approach, its conceptual framework relating to vision, missions, and values. It also borrows from the issue-based approach, its analytical method, and from the goal-based approach, its analytical approach, and from the result-based management, its result chain, but modified to give the virtuous transformations loop. So what are the key stages in the preparation of the National Development Plan using the PDOP approach? The first one is the formulation of the vision. At this stage are drawn the contours of the society that we want to achieve in the long term. In general, countries that have carried out prospective analysis already have visions originating from the scenarios in force. Second, assessment of mission. In terms of human rights-based approach, they correspond to public service missions with purposes, the realizations of the right of population as specified in Module 1. The third stage is the issues and gap analysis. That's a crucial stage aiming the diagnosis of the issues likely to affect or prevent the achievement of the purposes of the missions formulated. It is imperative at this stage to involve the social groups most concerned by the issues in question, otherwise the diagnosis will be distorted. Associating them participates in their rights according to the human rights-based approach framework. But beyond that, since the product is at the heart of the transformation, missing this step would reduce the chances of this transformation happening. The following steps is the formulation of result levels, impact, outcomes, responses to immediate cause and underlying causes. It is crucial that they reflect the desired change and be formulated according to the right-based approach. The formulation of the goals, the deliverable, and corresponding indicators. And at this step, there may be the possibility of ensuring also the customization of the levels of results at the administrative or geographical sub-levels of the country. Customization is the exercise by which the planner associates with each administrative or geographical level the results and products corresponding to the result of the diagnosis carried out at central level. Then follows the output formulation. So those are the outputs that are necessary to achieve the outcomes. This is a crucial step insofar as it concerns the main factor of transformation, which is the products. Generically, the outputs correspond to the responses to the structural causes identified by the causal analysis. At this stage, the working groups can limit themselves to generic product specification, even if it means refining them both with users and specialists in the field. The following step is about the analysis of the coherence of strategies and for prioritization. This step is very important for the quality and the feasibility of the plan because of the scarcity of resources, but also because of common sense consideration. It's essential to define what must be done immediately, eventually to save lives, and what will be done so that people thus saved take care of themselves sustainably and effectively. Following step is the integration of monitoring activities, consumption, use of products, the vital condition for the initiation of the virtuous transformations. After that, it's important to estimate the cost of the plan and the sources of its financing. To the cost of the product, it's advisable to add that of the cross-cutting activities, which are management, coordination, monitoring, communication relating to the plan. Then follows the development of the results framework, or more precisely, the framework or the virtuous transformation loop. That's a result framework which highlights the information on the use of product and specify for each level of result the deliverable together with the appropriate indicators. The choice can also relate to a more detailed chain in the implementation phase. And in this case, the VTL framework will have to be limited to results, purposes, deliverable product, specifying the entity, public or not, which are responsible for them, and then also the result indicator, etc. Follows the step of the drafting of the plan. Its shape and structure may vary from country to country. In any case, one must clearly distinguish the following parts. First, description of the context, whether it's national, sub-regional, regional, global, in which the preparation of the plan takes place. Second, the analysis of the situation, highlighting the major issues and challenge, especially in relation to missions and value, the analysis and the cause and effect relationships, justifying the structure of the results. Follows the presentation of the vision, objectives, the goals sought in relation to mission and values, the presentation of the constraints, assumption and risks to be taken into account, the targets, the results, and the partnership to be established for the achievement, the implementation and monitoring arrangement of the plan, the sources of financing for the plan, provision relating to the evaluation of the plan. Then it's technical validation, political validation, or adoption by the authorities, endorsement by the authorities. And this step formalizes the plan and triggers its implementation. So what are the quality criteria of the so obtained National Development Plan in the framework of the PDOP? The first is the precision of the object of the plan. The plan should be really clear about the transformation that is sought through the plan, the transformation corresponding to the purpose. The quality of the diagnosis is key because it's critical in determining the relevant product that will be used to bring the transformation through. Third is consistency actually, so that they might be able to respond to the question, are the proposed solutions consistent with the result of the diagnosis? The result orientation also is very critical, it's a critical criteria, and it's a way of answering to two major questions. First, are the results to be achieved SMART? Are the purposes and deliverables clearly defined? The other criteria, quality criteria of the plan, is its ease of managing the implementation and its monitoring. The following criteria is about realism. Are there too much gaps between the intended purposes and the available and/or anticipated means? And then come the criteria of the management leadership of the PDOP process. So it's important to make sure that the institution leading the process has the mandate, has also the capacities and the necessary organization to really lead the process to bring it to the deliverable, to have the good plan. And last but not least is the participation and ownership. We have seen that the major stakeholders must really be involved all over the steps of the preparation of the plan, and also the institution that are supposed to implement it must own the plan, so they may be able to get used to it and implement it smoothly. There is also this criteria which has also, actually it's about the advantage of the plan made using the PDOP framework. The first advantage is that the plan ensures a clear and unambiguous reading of the hierarchy of the results. Second, it ensures easier monitoring of progress towards results. It clarifies the responsibility at all levels of results, improving so the accountability in the implementation of the plan. It facilitates budgeting because it is based on concrete products whose pro forma cost can be defined more or less easily, taking into account quality attributes specified in advance. It makes it easy to integrate inclusion, gender, disability, other form of exclusion, and translates into reality the principle of leaving no one behind. It facilitates the development of sectoral strategy or lower political administrative levels, region, municipality, etc. We move to Chapter 3. Purpose and delivery-oriented plan. and implementation of national development plans. So here we need to see what are the advantages of PDOP when it's when we are at the implementation phases. It will be developed in 4 sections. First, we will define what implementation is about under the PDOP methodology. Second, what are the elements of the implementation? Third, what are the roles of stakeholders in the implementation? And fourth, what are the benefits of implementation relating to PDOP? Definition of implementation under PDOP is a process by which the production or acquisition of the products identified by the planning on the one hand, and their use on the other hand, trigger the transformational process that is supposed to lead to the advance of the vision through the achievement of outcomes and impacts. The whole process can be schematized as follows. You can see at the lowest level of this schema the product which will be produced or be procured. That will depend on the context. And the second layer is about the consumption and the utilization of the product. And when these products are utilized, then they generate the outcomes. And a group of outcomes by their combination may brought out the impact, which is about the change in people's lives. And all the impact together may lead to the vision, to that society that is envisioned by the country in the National Development Plan. So what are the elements of the implementation? The implementation under the PDOP includes 6 major elements. First, there is a need to develop an operational plan. And the second element is the acquisition or the production of the product necessary to obtain the outcomes. And third, it's very important to make the product available to end users. And fourth, we need to make sure that the end users, which are the right holders, but they may also be the duty bearers. So we need to make sure that duty bearers and right holders actually use or consume the said product. So that we need to monitor to make sure that the outcome induced by the use of the product are really obtained. And the last element is to see, depending on the previous element, to check whether it's necessary to make some correction or the strategies according to what we have noticed during the monitoring and the measurements of the achievements of the outcome. So, what are the various roles of the stakeholders in the implementation phase? First, we need to notice that the outcome is the first result, transformation level. Therefore, it's the first strategic level of coordination by an outcome group, which is a frame in which all the parties involved in the achievement of one or more outcomes come together to organize themselves in order to achieve one or several outcomes that warrants the existence of the outcome group. The responsibilities of the outcome group are as follows. It works to achieve the outcome for which the members are jointly responsible. It proposes change to be made to outcomes relating to groups. It coordinates delivery of outcome products. It tracks the use, consumption of product by end users. It monitors progress towards outcomes, decides on change in the product or the outcome themselves due to the evolution of the political, social, technology, etc. contexts. The membership of the outcome group is as follows. First, we have the ministry in charge of the mission to which the outcome falls as chair. Then we have the contributors of products or financial resources, the outcome, and the representatives of end users of the product within the group. The chair may decide also to call upon other members to join the group, depending on the interests of the outcome group. What are the roles of the different stakeholders in the implementation? At the operational level of products, we distinguish the project owner, which is the institution that owns the product to be produced. Second, we have the prime contractor, which is in charge of producing or sell the product. And third, we have the end users of the product. Given the volume of orders to be placed, it's essential that the know-how of public administration be strengthened in terms of procurement in order to avoid delays in implementation and for the strategic management of orders. The benefits of implementation, which can be attributable to PDOP, are as follows. First, PDOP clarifies the responsibilities at all levels of results, improving so the accountability in the implementation of the plan. It offers a raw material of quality, which is the listing of the product, for a strategic management of the procurement of the product necessary for generating the intended transformations. It ensures a mutual accountability within result groups in which all the contributors would be represented and rendered co-responsible of the results. It includes end users as key groups in product choices and increases the likelihood that this will actually be used, further increasing the likelihood of actually achieving the intended transformational change. It reduces the transaction cost through the progressive substitution of the mode of operation by project with virtuous collaboration with the private sector, associations, research and training structures, and international organizations. It offers to national authorities options for establishing inclusion or environmental safeguard standards through the quality and selection criteria for awarding contracts related to public procurement. It facilitates the development of sectoral strategy or lower political administrative level strategies thanks to the customization of central key results. It makes easy the integration of inclusion norms through the quality criteria of goods and services to procure, allowing to translate into reality the principle of leaving no one behind. Chapter 4. purpose and delivery oriented planning, and National Development Plan monitoring. That will be developed in 4 sections: general information on monitoring, product level monitoring, monitoring at the outcome level, impact monitoring. General information on monitoring. Monitoring is a critical function of the implementation of the plan. Its effectiveness and success largely depends on the quality of the programming. It has 3 main levels corresponding to the 3 main levels of the virtuous transformation loop, which are product, outcomes, and impact. The monitoring at the level of products and outcome appear to be the most critical, because it's where the basic change happens. The monitoring at the product level. 3 actors or group of actors roles differentiated but complementary in terms of product monitoring. These are, first, the client or project owner. It is that actor who defines the compliance criteria of the product to be met by the provider. The second actor is the provider or prime contractor. He or she must ensure that the production process of the product is organized in such a way that he or she can deliver the product according to the quality criteria and within the agreed with the client deadlines. The ultimate beneficiaries or users of the product. Because they are the end user of the product, it's critical that they be consulted at all stages of the product production, starting with determining its relevance until delivery through the definition of specifications and related milestones. There are 3 types of monitoring as far as this phase is concerned. The first level or the first type is the monitoring of delivery of the products. This is the responsibility of the chair of the outcome group, but it's also the end user's responsibility and the responsibility of the members of the outcome. The second type of monitoring is the monitoring of the use, the consumption of the product. That's crucial for the transformation to take place. Responsibility, it's the responsibility of all members of the outcome group because of the core responsibility for achieving the outcome. But the overall responsible of this is the state institutions that chairs the outcome group. The third type of the monitoring is relating to the monitoring of the achievement of outcomes. This type of monitoring is located downstream of that of the use of the products. It involves determining whether the use of the products has led to the change targeted by the outcome, the transformation, materialized by the delivery, by the deliverable of the said outcome. the monitoring of the impacts. It's aimed to ensure the desired change in the living condition of the population have actually been achieved. Also, it's interested in an anticipated change that can be positive or negative. It results to the evaluation, which practices were codified. All the monitoring process can be schematized as follows. On this figure, you have on your left the nature of the monitoring, the type of monitoring, and at your extreme right you have the monitoring actors and why they are interested in monitoring. As you can see at the lowest level, the type of monitoring is the monitoring of the production and the procurement of the product. And then you have as prime actors the project owner, the project contractor, the end user, and right holder as we have defined them. So it's a summary of what has been described previously. So until the vision, whereby you have the nature of the monitoring is to see whether there are societal transformations, and then who are the actors that are interested in seeing that: the political authorities, the sociologists, the economists, and so on, which are the researchers actually to see what has really changed at the level of society, which are qualitative change in the lives of people. Last chapter of this module is the purpose and delivery oriented planning and financing of National Development Plan. So financing the National Development Plan is a critical factor of its successes. And by using the framework of PDOP, as we have seen in the previous chapter, it creates a framework for collaboration